Hello, fellas, and to you ladies who are tuning in, being nosy. No, just joking. But we welcome you to another epic topic that would definitely enlighten you with all wisdom. I proudly present to you James Payne, an entrepreneur, chef, teacher, father, and husband. We hope that you gain something from this as we speak on such subjects as respect, relationship, sex, and being disciplined. Relax yourself and enjoy. It's my guy James. Matter of fact, we are actually second cousins. The last video we did was last year? About fatherhood, which came out to be a great success. And now we're going to talk about manhood. We're like the only two men out here. Ain't that right, James?
This is very true. I'll shake your hand.
Oh, you got to shake it like this.
No, I'm not. Don't
That's
keep
a
your
strong
palms,
grip.
Don't be keeping your palms open. That
smells
terrible.
familiar.
See, look. Cut it up. I hope you get demonetized for this stuff right now.
See, don't take that back, because I need that word.
Nah, but yeah, last time we did speak about fatherhood. This time we're just kind of going to hint on what does it mean to be a man, manhood in general, expectations, the whole entire spectrum. We'll talk about what you should be teaching your children, or actually a boy child. We have no choice but to talk about sex, which is going to lead on to your role in relationships as a man. So there's going to be a couple of topics that we talk about 100%. So you're just going to do the whole entire pretty wiki grind on me like I just didn't see that at all? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But no, that's going to be what we're going to get in today, ladies and gents.
Right.
Well, me personally, I did have both of my parents in my family, which I do want to start off top for raising a man. Having both parents in the family is 100% important. And that is no shot, there's no disrespect to the single parents doing it, but having a two-parent structure, honest to goodness truth, does a lot better. Me personally, the things that I was taught, what my dad physically showed me, is a hardcore work ethic. One thing that he said to me 100% is you're never be too prideful to take any job to take care of your family. Yeah. My dad did janitorial work. He worked for Milwaukee County. He did a lot of different things, but he was not prideful. His objective was to make sure that the family did not struggle whatsoever. Yeah. On my mom's side, she also had a job, and she just taught me how to kind of balance between relationship and work. But from what I was taught is a lot different to what I would physically teach my son if I had one. Right. And to a degree, it's based off of what my dad actually showed me. If it was me, the first thing that I would be teaching my son from day one is cultivation. Yeah. All right. The word cultivation is basically broken down to bringing out the maximum potential in something, which means even with the littlest that you have, you make the best out of it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So cultivation, I want you to kind of think about either Play-Doh or Legos, and you're trying to build a house. You literally build it up brick by brick. If you're trying to make a person out of Play-Doh, you're kind of molding it until you get your actual site. So cultivation will be that very first thing, is teaching them how to honestly build from nothing. Yeah. Because that'll be the first thing. The second thing that I will be teaching my son specifically is respect. And that's like, I know that
respect on it.
I know that might be a generalized statement, but when you thoroughly respect something, you almost revere it. We have so much respect for the Lord that we revere Him. Yeah.
Because one thing I want to ask you: what is the difference between fear and respect?
So to a degree, they're intertwined with one another. When it comes to a respectful fear, it's based off of a love situation. Yeah. It's like, I care for this individual so much, I have so much respect for them that I'm scared to let them down, or I want to live up to their expectation. When it's just purified fear, it's almost as if it's a comparison. I'm too scared to try because I know this person is way better than me. So it's more of like a mental situation. Like when you're afraid of something, it's more personal, and when you're respecting something, it's more external. It's something you're not putting yourself first when you're respecting. When you fear something, it's more like I'm scared, so I don't want to do it. Fear is almost a selfish emotion if you really break it down to like its purity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's only about you. You know, some people can actually stop themselves from progress just by being too scared.
Right.
You know, something as stupid as like everybody goes to prom and then you that one person who don't want to dance. It's like, I'm going to stand up against the wall because I ain't trying to look like a fool. That's a personal,
right.
That's a personal decision. You know what I'm saying? So, but respect is number 2. Number 3 for my son, I would want him to have absolute financial literacy.
Yeah. Why is that?
Financial literacy is not being rich, but it's knowing what to do with your finances. Once again, making the best out of your finances.
Finance.
The reason why I'm saying that one specifically is having financial literacy. There's a whole bunch of things that it'll fall underneath to, but it's basically maximizing your dollar. You know how much
Maximizing. Let me stop.
No, because it's like a lot of people spend just to spend.
Yeah.
One of the best lessons my dad told me is if you have to spend money, make sure it's something that you can make money on.
Say that again.
If you're going to spend money, make sure it's something you can make money on. Right. He would say something as stupid as, if you're going to go to the store and buy a bottle of water, buy a case and sell the water. Yeah. You still physically got the one bottle of water that you was going in the store for,
right.
But now you can actually make more money out of it. And that was just like a small hustle that he just told me out top. It's just, don't go to the store and buy one bottle, buy a case. And honestly, when you really break it down and think about it, I like Fiji. That's like my favorite water. And Fiji is like $4.69 just for the tall bottle.
Yeah.
And a whole case of water is the same exact price. Not a Fiji though. The Fiji is like probably $35.
Yeah,
but it's just like, you know, of a good water brand, it's about the same price. So it's like, hey, and then you could go to grocery stores and get 2 cases for $5. So if I'm spending the same amount of money, I can actually get my bottled water and sell the rest. Right. That's just financial literacy. And then when you get older, that's when like the 401ks and all the extra stuff comes in. But we'll talk about that after childhood. Financial literacy will be the 3rd thing. The 4th thing, and this is as a child, the difference between dating and courting. Dating is playing house. Okay? Let's just go ahead and say it. Say it.
House!
No, but it's genuinely playing house. You want to do everything that a marriage is, but you don't want to be married. When you're courting somebody, you're literally getting to know somebody internally before you do it physically. You want to know them, you get to know their habits, that's when you get to know their families. You involve yourself in them completely. Courting end game is marriage. Period. There's so many people nowadays who are dating and not married. They're doing everything like a married couple. Hell, they're moving in together, they'll buy a dog, they'll put a car in the same exact name. They smashing as frequently as humanly possible. I ain't got no time for you right now.
I'm sorry.
But it's like, I want you to think like for the people who do plan on listening in, I want you to genuinely consider how many people you know are dating and not courting. How many people you know are playing house, and the one thing that they do the most of is they complain. They don't feel fulfilled in the whole entire thing. I've been doing this way too long. He or she is not doing exactly what I want to do. It's the complaining. When you're courting somebody, you know that the end game is marriage because you're making every single step to become husband and wife. When you're dating, you just want to play parents. Because unfortunately, we know about the divorce rates. But that's, once again, a different topic. I know I can get off of it. But it'll be the difference between courting and dating. And then the final thing that I will be teaching my son from day one is the importance of sex. And that'll be, of course, the next thing that we're going to talk about. The importance of sex. It's not to get off a nut, but the whole entire purpose of sex is honestly for procreation, is to make children. A lot of people say it's an expression of love. I'll be honest, I feel the most love in my relationship when I have like a very in-depth detail. When I get to know something deeper about the person who I'm with, that's genuinely what I feel the most love on. Don't get me wrong, the sex part is fun. I'm just gonna say that. Just said it. It's fun. It's enjoyable in the whole entire nine. But the purpose of sex, the overall purpose of sex, is for procreation, and it can be used as an expression for love. But I feel that it's been perverted in such a way where people are using it as the only excuse to actually get what they want. You know. But sex can be a very dangerous thing. I know when I was growing up in elementary school, they would put up these charts, and this is in the elementary school in the 4th grade, of like, all right, Jenny had sex with Dave, but Dave had sex with like 3 other women before her, and those 3 women had sex with 2 guys, and those 2 guys had sex, and it just gives a pyramid of how much technically that one person just got inside of them compared to like you being a virgin, and like you technically just allowed like 60 people to come inside of you from off of that one person,
Right.
And as a kid, that kind of freaks you out, like, yeah, cooties, you know what I'm saying? It's like, ew, But it's still factual to this day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, where we live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we know that the STI and STD rate is quite high.
Mm-hmm.
We know for sure that the teenage pregnancy is oh my goodness, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just seeing people who are like under 20 just continuously getting pregnant. And once again, that goes back to single households and stuff like that. So sex is something not to play with. It's actually something to be responsible and be respected. Once again, it goes back to respect.
Yeah.
It's something to be respected and not played with. Most people might not want to hear it, but it's the truth. Yeah, that's that one on that one.
Right.
But that's just the pieces of those are the 4 or 5 pieces that I would say in regards to childhood.
Yeah.
Cultivation, respect, financial literacy, all the way through, the difference between courting and dating, and then the respect of sex. And then I kind of touched on why you should respect sex. So that'll be being a man. Any parent who's raising a boy, I personally feel, should be teaching that boy those specific things. The other items will come organically, because kids are very intuitive. They tend to pay attention to a lot of things, and the rest of it will kind of develop them. But if there's anything that they should hone on in, that they should build on, it should be those foundations. Of course, some people are going to say, what about the relationship with God? At the end of the day, if the parents have a relationship with God, your children is going to see that within inside of you, and that's going to happen organically. But once again, that'll be a different topic, because sometimes parents can force something onto a child, which is going to force them to rebel. But that'll be a completely different topic some other time. But yeah.
Teenagers. Being a teen. What does it mean? Oh, that rhymes. That's bars, right?
That's so elementary. It's terrible. Sherlock Holmes. Get it? Elementary. That's the bar. So as you talk about as a teen man, a teenager who's trying to come to a man, like certain things that they should.
Yeah, like peer pressure.
I mean, so we can literally break this down into a lot of subcategories, but I'm going to just kind of umbrella it all in there.
Yeah.
Being a man and a teenager at the same exact time is probably the most vital time when it comes to being a parent. But when it comes to being a man, certain things, the main things that you should be lasering in on at that particular time are as follows. We first got to understand that you're going through a developmental period. You're going to be attracted to what you're going to be attracted to. You're going to be attracted to women. You're going to, unfortunately, wake up with morning woods, and you're not going to know what to do with it and stuff. Super strong for no reason at all. That I call it teenage years trial and error. Most people call it discovery, but it's a lot of trial and error. You have to make mistakes so you can actually be a little bit better on what it is.
Yeah.
But as being a teen and being a man, it has to be split down the middle. There are certain things that you have to empathize with, and then there's certain things you have to structure. Empathy, when it comes to relationship, when it comes to women, you have to empathize on that. You have to let them bump their head several times until they kind of get their scope and spectrum. When it comes to structuring, and just being a man in that particular area, it's knowing the difference between friends and acquaintances. Too many times men tend to make their acquaintances their friends. An acquaintance is someone who you just know, a friend is someone who you know is going to guide you to be better.
Yeah.
I have to say that as clear as day. A friend will only guide you to be better. A friend is not someone who always is going to put you in a bad situation and then teach you a way to snake out of it. They're always going to force you to be better. So if you skip in school, a friend is going to have you come back to class. If you're with the wrong person, a friend is going to constructively tell you why that person is bad for you. Things of that nature. If you're spending money, a friend is going to teach you how to save.
Yeah.
An acquaintance is someone who is there for the ride. You want to party? Let's party. You want to drink? Let's drink. If you want to smoke, you want to smoke. Those are going to be the acquaintances. Also, the acquaintances are going to be the ones, hey, I ain't got no money for that drink, but I'll drink with you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got that money for the smoke, but I will smoke. Right. So it's like an acquaintance is someone who's there for the ride. There was an analogy that I heard a very long time ago when I was younger. Acquaintances are like leaves on the tree in autumn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They will eventually fall down. And then you have some acquaintances who you start calling friends, but when you put a little pressure on them, they're like the twigs. They're going to eventually break. Right. Then you have good friends who are like the branches that they can take pressure, but the more and more pressure you get them, they'll bend, but eventually break. Right. And then you have your roots. Your friends who are your roots are the ones who's actually feeding nutrients into you, basically like roots do for a tree. Yeah. They're feeding you. Once again, they're helping you grow. A legitimate friend is there for your growth. Right. They're the ones who's going to hold your feet to the fire. Like if you're messing up, they're going to ride with you regardless. Like legitimately, you know, if you cut the roots off of any plant, everything dies. Yeah. These roots are like, look, I might not mess with you for a little bit, but whenever you call upon them, they're going to tell you the truth, period, and they're always going to push you towards greatness. Yeah. How many of y'all have those types of friends as men? I'm talking about men who has other male friends who's that strong. I'm not talking about the acquaintances who you know you can say you could party with, but somebody who you know is going to pressure you to be a better version, period. Yeah. I'm thankful that the first 3 friends that I ever had who was males was my dad and my 2 brothers. Yeah. Growing up, I didn't like them because they kept my feet to the fire. You're not going to like your friends at first, okay? Let's just be. But you respect, once again, you respect them because they want you to be a better version of who you are as a person. Right. You can never get mad at someone who wants you to be better. Right. If you do, I'm going to pray for you. But teenage years as a man, like I said, it's the difference between what you want to structure and then things, I call them the intangibles. Yeah. You know, you have to have empathy on them. You're going to have to bump your heads a lot of times in order to get there. So, teenage years, know who your friends and acquaintances are. That's literally the best piece that I can give right there when it comes to manhood. Yeah. The other stuff comes because you're going to be in school. You might get a job at that time, but I don't need to touch on all that because that's kind of self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. But the biggest piece for manhood is to know the difference between those. Right. I'll put it to the fellas like this right here. If, as being a man, I feel sometimes we have certain priorities out of order, right? Most men really have this mentality of, man, as long as I'm getting money, I'm good. Yeah. Is that really enough, though? No, I'm being real. Is having money enough? In my opinion, I'm going to say no, because you'll never have enough money for you to be all the way satisfied. You're going to keep chasing after it. That's a fact. You're going to keep chasing after it. So I feel as a man in manhood, we have certain priorities that's out of whack. Most people my age are either in a relationship or married, or seeking marriage at that particular time. So, and unfortunately, it's something that I had to learn. Most men tend to put work over their family. Once again, that's something that's all the way out of whack. And they justify it. They'll justify putting work over family because it was like, my job is providing for my family, so it has more importance. Right. A man should have a job, but one of the largest topic that a man should have around my age is balance. All right? Yeah. I have to say it as specific as that is balance. 100% understand that a job provides for the family, but it's not more important than your family. The one thing you could never get back is time. And if you spend too much time at work, how much time do you have developing your home? Fellas, how often have you unfortunately received an argument or a disagreement with the spouse based off of how much time you're spending at work? And then by the time you come home, you're drained, you're tired. They need that same level of commitment and love even at home. So men my age, the number one thing you should already have in the bag. If not, I would encourage for you to work on it is balance. Learning how to balance your work life with home life, your personal life with home life. You see how I put home in there twice?
Right. Home.
No, work with home and then personal with home. Make sure you're balancing those appropriately.
Yeah.
That's as simple as I can say it. Second thing would probably be the financial discipline with me, or financial literacy and discipline. With me being of my age, unfortunately I started a little bit late when it comes to the financial literacy / discipline. I started learning what it was when I was 28, 29. When I did have opportunities in front of me to take advantage when I was like 20, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But 28, 29 is where I started learning how to think about property, how to buy property, how to manage property as well, about 401ks, IRAs, CDs, bonds. Like I started learning about all of that, dabbling in the stock market. I know this ain't necessarily about finances, but stuff like that. Men should start digging into retirement plans, insurance. Like, yeah. I'm sounding like a 50-year-old guy right now who only concerns about retirement plans and insurance. But like I said, most of the people I know my age are family men,
yeah.
And 30s is like the prime time for you to start setting up your family for better success. Start putting money into a 401k. Start putting money into another retirement plan outside of a 401k, because technically the 401k is for retirement, but I say a 401k should be for you because you put the work in, but you still should have another account that you can literally give to your family if anything was to ever happen to you.
Right. Let me ask you something. What is the meaning of success?
Being 100% content with whatever happens. Success does not always mean finance. Do you guys not see in the news how many times there's people who are filthy rich who are completely depressed and commit suicide?
Yeah.
Financial stability or financial gain is not what success is. Success is having 100% contentment.
Yeah.
When you literally can just sit back and be at peace over everything is my definition of success. Right. People may have different ways on how they do it, but if you're at complete peace on everything, you are a success.
Yeah.
I am sorry. Like, you are a success. Like, even if you ran a business, but you managed your money so well that if things in that business go completely sideways, where you have to close, unfortunately, in 6 months, and you're completely at peace because you managed the money appropriately and you have a savings that can last you for as long as it takes to do it.
Yeah.
What other level of success is there when you can literally be at complete peace in any situation? I would challenge anybody for that. I would encourage any person who decides to listen to this, leave your specific comment on what you feel success is. That is mine. Having complete contentment and peace over any situation.
All right.
That's more of a mental challenge than it is a physical, and that's more of an internal battle. But I mean, man, I'm sorry. Like, you can't be more successful than that. I'm sorry. That's right. You can walk in your house at peace, even in the midst of an argument. If you have an argument with your spouse, that you can be peaceful in the disagreement, because 9 times out of 10 an argument comes up because you're being enlightened on something that you didn't know that you're doing wrong. And if you can find even the peace in that, it's like, dang, I'm successful in my relationship. Right. I feel that's dope. Right. I feel that's dope. But yeah. All right, fellas, I'm going to come at you with something very specific and a challenge. It's going to kind of hint towards violence, but I'm going to say tame your pride. I mean that in more than one particular way. You know, unfortunately, going through our stages in life as being men in general, we tend to look for like a rite of passage. Most people be like, a way to show that I'm a man is that I buy a car, I get a house. Some people are like, the way I prove that I'm a man is because I'm a protector, I can fight. You know, some people, like, so you got provider and protector. That's practically what any man will say makes them a man, is that they're a provider and a protector. But here comes the challenge. Protection doesn't always mean violence and or fighting. Providing does not always mean finances.
Yeah.
What do you mean? All right. Protection means to secure, means to have a grasp of, which means you need to be knowledgeable. You also need to be, how can I say it, patient. I'm going to say patient, knowledgeable and patience.
Yeah.
Having knowledge over a situation actually gives you an advantage because you know how to kind of navigate your way through. And then showing some level of patience is also self-control in its own. The cure to violence is showing self-control and or patience. Trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes. I'll give you a perfect example. And this is a very common example, so this is the reason why I'm going there. A man is walking down the street with his girl, and another man makes a very legitimate sexual comment about her. As a man, how would you respond?
Bow, bow, bow.
So you're just gonna choke him. So, in most cases, that is a man's natural reaction. You want me to tell you what my natural reaction is? I will walk up to him, shake his hand, and tell him thank you. Having knowledge over the situation is as follows. The woman who you are attracted to, attracted you to them, or you were attracted to her for a specific reason.
Yeah.
That does not mean other men are not attracted to her. Right?
Yeah.
The word security, like I said, is to be in a grasp of. As a man, if you are being that protector and that provider in the appropriate ways, even with your woman in front of you, she can receive that compliment and then boost you up at the same time before you even can do anything to react. When you have knowledge on the fact, like, my woman is gorgeous. Most men pride are invoked and they're just like, I need to make sure ain't no man looking.
Yeah.
And the first man to look, we gonna have a problem. When it's more like when you know that you're secure, and the other things that we talked about through here, when you know that you're secure and you've been providing specific things towards your girlfriend, wife, your missus, however it is, it's not that you're okay with it, it's just you know that a man's words is not going to be strong enough to sway your lady away.
Yeah.
Now, that does not mean you cannot defend the honor of your woman, okay? If a man crosses a boundary of, like, physically trying to snatch up or touch, or if he says something very disrespectful, i.e. the B word, like, you ugly B word, or however it may be, you have to constructively handle your business. Don't be so excessive where you get arrested, but make sure that man feels your presence. All right? I'm not encouraging you to beat him down to a pulp, but every man knows how to deal with another man in that particular situation. Unfortunately, we're in a time of days where people will pull out a gun and do something very stupid, and that's a pride-based thing. But it's just, I'm not sitting here saying it's wrong for you to defend your woman. I will legitimately say if you provide and protect appropriately, that doesn't mean fighting and that doesn't mean financially. But if you provide, if you have security over it, if you have a grasp, if you have knowledge of your woman, if you study her, and you just really give her that comfort and that security, you're all good. What are you, like, protection? What are you protecting in your woman? You're protecting legitimately her mind and her heart.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, because you're protecting her emotions. Whenever you get with a woman more than likely have been through scenarios. I don't care if they're a virgin or anything, but when you are a legitimate protector, that means you can receive her information, as ugly as it may be, as beautiful as it may be, and you can still uplift her. Period. If she knows that she can trust you, and she's secure in you, 100% in you holding on to her deepest, darkest secrets, what would make her run away from that? I'm finna choke the holy sugar honey iced tea out of you. I'ma choke the sugar honey iced tea out. Did you just boot me in the nose? And we talking about protection? I should punch you square in your flopping heart.
Dang.
I should punch you right in your slobber knocker. But no, it's just, if she can trust you with those deepest, darkest secrets, there's not much that a man can sway away from.
Yeah.
So what are you providing? What are you providing? Ask me what you provide.
What are you providing?
At the end of the day, the things that you're providing to her is trust, love, and respect.
Say that again.
Trust, love, and respect.
What?
Trust, love, and respect. The reason why I say, and it has to be in that particular level. She's going to trust you if you can hold her deepest, darkest secrets, and if you're honest with her through anything. You always have to give your missus the opportunity to receive information. Never be afraid to tell her the truth. If the woman cannot handle the truth and y'all tend to break up, that's literally God saying that is not the specific woman that I gave to you. Because the woman who I gave to you can handle the truth. Period. Second one. What was the second one?
Second one.
I'm teasing.
The second one. The second one.
And another one. But so we do have the trust part 100%. When the respect comes in, a woman would never respect you unless she trusts you. Those two are legitimately hand in hand. A respect, once again, if we go back to the beginning of when we were talking about a childhood, is having so much love for a person. That means like, that's it. Respect is in the level of unconditional, right? I just respect you. Like, I don't need no other reason. You have given me everything that I need to literally stand in your corner 100%. That's what you're providing to her. The finances is different. The sex might even be in a different ball game because some men be like, hey, I provided these nuts. I know you might. No, I'm serious. You're going to have a troll or two who say, I provided these nuts and I provided these ducats. It's like, honest to goodness truth, that's not enough. And it's actually sad if you feel that it's enough because you really simplified a woman down to material and an object. And a woman really isn't that. She's a lot more. She has a lot more depth and detail to it. But if you have a secure grasp on all of that, and even if you find yourself in that situation, a woman will come to your defense before you can. And then you would, and having knowledge over the situation, like I said earlier, you could receive the fact that you know your woman is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know your woman is beautiful. Me personally, the reason why I would shake his hand and say thank you is, and I'll be like, yeah, I do got a baddie, don't I? But I'm looking at you, staring in your eyes, and I'm giving you affirmation. I do got a baddie, don't I? You know how much more intimidating it is in comparison to wanting to punch somebody that a grown man will shake you your hand, look you right in your eye like, I do got a good one, don't I? Appreciate it.
Right.
And then just go on your way.
Right.
You know, just go completely on your way, which is fine. You know, so like I said, the challenge at the beginning of it, just being a man as an adult, is men, we need to check our pride 100%. And we can't be led by our pride. We cannot. Our pride is before fall. Pride is before crash. It's written just like that in many different dialects. If you put your pride first, you're going to fall right on your face. And everything that you try to build up on your pride is actually going to come crashing. It's going to be as fragile as your pride is. We have to put that 100% in check. And then also as men, as being an adult man, I feel men need to hold other men accountable. Don't care, period. We need to hold them accountable. I don't feel there's enough brotherhood, per se. I don't feel there's enough brotherhood out here. It's kind of like a dog-eat-dog situation. And I personally feel we need to hold more accountability. We need to push each other to be great 100%, especially right now in the stage of what we're going through right now. There's certain things that we should have did way long ago. Yeah. I remember when I grew up, my parents knew every single parent on the block. How many of y'all can actually say your parents knew every single person on the block? Right. How many of y'all right now can say that on the street that you live on, you know every person from end to end on that block? Can you say that you know everybody on your block?
Not now. back then, but yes, too. My mother and father, they knew everybody.
Knew everybody. Yeah. It knew everybody, and it was just it was a lot of respect that was going on. It's just you know, if my boy acting up, hey, knock him out, and I'm gonna knock him out as soon as I get on. That's something that I heard all the time. But I feel that we need more accountability in the man household. And then lastly, men, we most definitely have to respect women 100%. That goes back to what I said earlier. There's too many single household families that's going on 100%. Not giving people too much of a scapegoat, but if a man knew the appropriate way how to provide and protect, there would be a lot more two-parent households. A lot more two-parent households. Try not to be violent. Keep your pride in check. And that's practically it, man. Like, there's a lot of pressures in manhood. I mean, everybody wants to be a leader. There is pressure in being a leader in manhood whatsoever, especially whoever you decide to allow to influence you. Some people allow the wrong people to influence them, but that goes back to what I said as a teenager. Mm-hmm. If you really break down who your friends and your acquaintances is, only the right people are going to influence you. You know what I'm saying? So technically everything we've been talking about, hopefully you can see I'm almost in a linear action lead from being a child to a teenager to a man.
Yeah.
You know, what you would want to teach your children and all that. So, yeah. I want to encourage, like I said, I want to encourage people to put a comment, some things that ask questions on, or, you know what, give us something that you learned as being a man or something that you feel as a man you should know. Women, the women who watch this, give us insight on what you honestly want to see in a man. And nothing physical, but we literally want to hear something that you want to see in us, or something that you expect us to have before we introduce ourselves to you, outside of money and sex.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel this could be an open conversation. Hopefully you get some decent comments.
Yeah. And
this can stimulate another conversation that we can have by answering certain questions and stuff like that. That'll be enjoyable. And hopefully we come back to it again, man. Right. I enjoy this.
Stay tuned after this video, but for a special announcement, we'd like to say thank you all for watching this video, especially to you guys out here. Some of you may have been struggling, suffering, or feel lost. Just know that you can still pick yourself back up and continue the race. God bless you.
Stuff I gotta deal with every day. I know I'm talking a lot. This is supposed to be like 13 minutes.
No, maybe the world's gonna see it. Clean darkness. Darkness.
What you mean darkness is?
And
then I got all this black to back of my neck. Anyway.
Here, matter of fact,
we good.
Come this way. I want them to see your face.
They can see my face. I just got a little head.
We back at it again. My guy James, come close.
Okay, you
come close.
Why are you gripping the neck? To be talking to people around my age. I'm 33.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be talking to people around my age. So basically somebody like you, but you've been here since the beginning.
Oh. Okay, whatever you do, try to keep your hand still, because it's actually reading. Shut up. Okay. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh man, I forgot.